Well, we have a very special episode this week because this is your five Pete. Yes, this is Jaime Lynn Hendricks' five Pete
Yes.
appearance on the podcast for their double lives. And so Gary's here with me too. And we are just gonna have so much fun talking about this.
Oh my God.
Basically, welcome back, Jamie.
Thank
Yeah.
you. I think I was one of your first guests. I think I was in like the first five that you had.
You were, I think,
So
number four.
so thank you for having me back every year. This is
Yeah,
wonderful. You guys are my favorites, so
Oh my
we
God,
it's
I love
are.
you
all
so
it's really
much.
fun.
Yeah. So much fun. And this one to start off, because I've been recording intros ahead of time, so people like know the synopsis at this point. But this one is super cool because Kim Valva is someone who I follow on Instagram and talk with, and she is the main character name.
Yes.
But also Gare's little baby boy Murphy makes his own little appearance.
Oh, he's a
Yeah, he makes
star.
his literary debut. He
Oh
just
my God.
bounces on stages.
He is, ugh, you like encapsulated him so well in this book. Like I was like, oh my
Good.
God,
That's
does
how I
she have
like
like a
him.
hidden camera in here? Because like he would do something in the like Murphy would do something in the book, and then I'd like look at him and be like, yeah, you do that, you little shit. Like,
You're
I
like,
know you said something about, destroying the porcupine, but I actually did that because my old dog had the porcupine and it was like her favorite thing. We actually, when we had to put her down, we sent her to get cremated with the porcupine, like, so she was holding it. So that way I didn't want her to be without it. So we got it all sent back to
oh.
us, and I know porcupine is with her forever.
yeah.
Oh, I love
Yeah.
that. That's so sweet.
But she sent me Amber, so that's good,
Yes.
They're
Yeah.
they're they're incredible creatures.
Yes.
Yeah.
The our porcupine did not last. Murph
Oh, she
Murph
she destroys everything. She had a porcupine too, but she's still a
Yeah.
puppy.
I have to
She's
get
only like 19 months old, so she'll grow out of it eventually.
I
Yeah.
So
have to
every
get
time you
like
give
the
her she
super
rips the arms and the legs off. There's like stuffing everywhere all over the house.
yeah, Murphy does like the face. Like he just like attacks the face and he doesn't get stuffed animals anymore. I'm just like I'm not wasting my money. I have to get him like the super durable toys that like 120-pound dogs chew on and
Yeah.
like you're a marshmallow with teeth.
Yes.
Aw, he's a sweet baby.
He is a sweet boy. He is a sweet boy. He gave me a little run for my money today, but he's a sweet boy.
We got to be challenged.
Yeah,
Can't
yeah.
always be easy.
I was
And
like,
they
I
say
think
that like dog moms and dog dads are not like real parents, but the hell we're not.
I think it would have been easier for me to actually have a child at this point than it would have been for Murphy. I think a child would have been easier.
No, you leave our Murphy alone.
Yeah, he's challenging. I regret nothing, but I think
Right.
it would have been
That's
easier to
like
have a kid since
parent.
yeah, he's a little shit.
I think we love our doggies, and I think that's what we're meant to do.
Yeah,
Yes.
it is
Yeah.
for
Yeah.
sure.
They make life 100% better.
Yeah.
Yes.
Well, did your love for your dogs, was that partially what motivated this story where your character is willing to do some questionable things because she wants to save her dog?
Yeah, because I was writing this when Cosmo, my last dog, was toward the end.
Oh,
And it was just, and we knew, and she had been diagnosed with kidney cancer about 6 months before she died. They only gave her three, and she lasted six. So, but we were doing everything to try to make her last. And then, I just got into it, and I was just like, who do I have to kill to save the dog? And it was like, who do I have to kill to save the dog? And, therein lies, just some random thought on like a random Tuesday, and, a book is born.
I love that.
That is
And
so
then when
wild to
she
me.
died, I told Gare I was changing it into Murphy, and it was going to be, well, no, actually it was always Murphy because I didn't want to do Cosmo because I knew she was going to be dead when it came out, and then
Oh,
that
yeah.
would freak
Yeah.
me out.
Okay, rough.
And I put her, she's in the dedication, she's been in all my dedications, but she was in this one saying like, I wrote every book with her, which is probably
Hmm.
why I haven't, done anything. because like, she was always by my feet when I was writing, and I miss her. So I love Amber to death, and she might even be better, but um, it doesn't mean I don't miss the other dog.
Yeah.
Oh,
Yeah.
Gary, you might have to take this one because I'm crying.
Oh,
That's sweet.
And you don't lose a pet, and it's not linear. Like, it's not like you cry the most the first day and then it goes down and down and down till it goes away. Like that's not what happens. Like,
everything
up,
changes.
down, and then nothing for a while, and then just out of nowhere you'll just start crying in the middle of the night, and we love
Yeah,
our doggies.
Yeah.
We
we
love our
do.
doggies.
We do. I love that. I love that saying that they say that like a dog is like a part of your life, but for your dog, you're their whole life. And that's
Yes,
like
it's
always something
true.
like I think of if like Murphy's being like bad or I'm having like a frustrating day and he's like kind
Yeah,
of, I'm just like, oh my God, like I'm all he has. And then like I
yeah.
obviously get like,
Yes. And then you're like, I'm an asshole,
and then I
and
get
then
like,
you have
yeah,
to
then
tell
I get
him
emotional and I'm like, what can I buy you? Like, what do you want? And he's just like,
no stuffed
rub
animals.
rub my belly and turn on Dateline. Like it's the only thing that relaxes me. So that's what Murphy gets is yeah, Dateline and belly rubs.
That's
Um,
that's awesome.
but I
Just like
love
me.
that. Yeah, come on
Same
over.
thing, belly rubs. Yeah, give me like true crime and belly rubs. I'm in.
Yeah, okay. You can come. I have two hands, one for you, one for Murphy. You come on over anytime. You're always welcome. You're always welcome up here in the armpit of New York, where I am. But I love that, like, this random thought that popped into your head is what, like, spun the wheels on this book because you've been, for the last 5 years, you've been doing a book a year, correct?
Yes.
If not,
Yeah.
if not less than a year,
No, it's been every May.
every
It was,
May.
yeah, they all came out in May.
But the writing process has been you don't get a whole year to write. You know what I mean?
No, but I usually don't need a whole year to write. I could usually write a book in, 3 to 4 months. When I sit down and concentrate and I'm in writing mode, which I haven't done for, months and months because
Mhm.
of all the personal stuff I've got going on. So
Yeah.
writing has been a little bit more difficult. But I mean, I've got another book that's done that's going to go on sub because I am no longer with Scarlett.
Mhm.
So my book is going to go on sub right after this one comes out. So soon, so like next week. And then I'm about 50,000 words into another one, and they're usually around like 80. So
Wow.
once I just get motivated on that, I can do that. So
I
I
love
just I
how you're
just have to
like,
get my ass in chair. That's what they always say.
yes, yes. But I love how you're like, I mean, I barely have it, but I have 50,000 words. We're like, nice.
Yeah, but they were written like I haven't touched the book in like 4 months.
Oh, that's yeah.
It should have been done, edited, gone to my beta readers. Like it should have been completely finished. My agent should have it by now, but
You guys,
that's my fault. But it's okay. I've got a real excuse.
oh yeah, that's life's fault, not your fault.
Yeah.
Yeah, that's
Yeah.
real life stuff.
Hmm.
But just to say that you can bang out a book in 3 or 4 months is like incredible to me because like when I read your books, you're one of those people that like I call them like the like fairy tale thrillers where like somebody drops off little like breadcrumbs along the way and then those
Yeah,
breadcrumbs like erupt in the end of the book. You know what I mean? Like you
yeah.
kind of want to
And it's
go
like,
back
oh,
to
I should have seen that.
yeah, like well, you're kind of like, oh, okay, like so that thing that's in the back of my mind that I like can't get out of my head, this is important. And then like when I finish one of your books, the first thing I want to do is I want to start it all over again and like pick up more of those breadcrumbs along the way because like, even
Like,
though this is
oh,
my
that's where it is.
yeah,
Like, she's a
even
50 little one.
even though it's like my fifth book by you, I'm like, she always freaking tricks me. Like, usually when you read books by somebody, like sometimes they can be like a little formulaic, or you're like, oh, I know that they're going to try to pull this like around like 30 or 40 or 50% in. Nope, nope,
Mhm.
not our girl. Nope, our number one girl is like, no, I'm
No,
going to trick you every single time.
well,
Yeah.
I do leave some things, some things kind of have to stay the way that you expect them to, or like you'll be thinking something formulating in your head. And sometimes I
Mhm.
do leave that there, but most of the time I like to be like, no, raw, and I just pull out the rug.
Yes.
Yeah. Yeah. You
Do you
always trick me.
surprise yourself with this one at all? I know you don't like to have like a literal plot, like a plot outline going into it.
Mhm.
So did you like shock yourself a bunch?
Yes, because well, you guys read it, so you know how it ends.
Yeah.
That those last two chapters like came out of nowhere. When I was I had it a completely different ending, and then when I gave it to like my beta readers or my well, they're actually my alpha readers, like my critique partners. I
Mm,
was just like, you know, they were like, well, what about this? What about this? What about this? And I was like, you know what? Because I was just kind of done with writing this one. It was frustrating me.
mm,
And I was just like, I don't know. I like, how do I do it? And then it just came to me. It was like, you know, shower thoughts. It just comes to you. You're sitting there, you're like, oh, yeah, blah, blah. And I'm like, huh. So like, I was just like, maybe I'll try it this way. And it was with like the letter, which is not giving anything away. So the
Mhm.
letter and then the last two chapters is those all just came in like one day. And I just like wrote all of them in one day. And I was like, okay, now I'm finished. Now it's definitely done. And I thought it wrapped everything up really well because it told why, how, who, you know,
yeah.
and you know, the real, you know, the last couple of lines of the book, it really, you know,
Yeah.
I can't give anything away.
Yeah.
I get it.
Yeah.
Yeah, I always think about it when I'm reading your books, how you just like, yeah, even from the first interview, you would say you wanted to surprise yourself as you were writing it. So that at
Yes.
those moments, I'm always like, what happened that made her have this come to mind? The other cool
Yeah,
thing,
because that's,
oh, sorry.
well, no, go ahead.
Well, I was just gonna say the other cool thing is that your main character, it was kind of like a contest to name that character. Do you want to talk about that?
Yes. Yes. She Kim Valva, she entered. I was asked by another person if I wanted to donate to have somebody character in my book because they knew somebody who worked closely with the Arthritis Foundation. So I put it out there saying, you know, if you donate to this, you know, highest bid wins and you can be a character in the book. And Kim Valva won it. And then the fun part was she lives in Houston. And when I went to Houston for an interview with Abby Endler, who's Crime by the Book,
Yeah.
um, at Murder by the Book in Houston, she lives there. So she was like, I'm taking a half day and like we're gonna go have lunch. So like I got to meet her
Oh,
and
so
we
cool.
just and you know, it's like when you meet somebody and then just like I would like when we all meet in person, which we will, like we're just gonna sit down like we've known
Yeah.
each other for 100 years.
Yeah.
And that's what it was like with her. So it was fun. And then like she came to the you know the signing and the whole thing. But it like now I'm friends with her. So it's like you know, I just love how this
Oh,
happened with you know books to grammars and stuff. It's like, you know, they just read and then they just become your friend. It's so cool.
Ew, I love
It's like
book.
the greatest community.
I love too that like you are writing a book in like
Are
three or
you
four
guys frozen?
months, and
Are you guys frozen? Or
no,
am I? I see myself moving.
I think
Oh,
I see you moving now.
you're moving now.
Okay.
Yeah.
Okay, because before you guys weren't moving.
Oh, that's true.
And I said, I'm like, can you see me moving? I'm moving.
I just always do want to tell you how much I respect your position on Bookstagram because so many authors, like, especially after 5 books, like, you still to this day are making friends on Bookstagram. You answer DMs, you're always sharing things, and like, you are just as kind and humble and amazing as you were from day one. And like
Oh,
honestly, you're one of like the people that like make the community what it is.
aw, you're the best. But I feel that way
You
about
are.
you guys. I feel that way about like, you know, I mean, not everybody's my favorite human ever, Gare. Don't get jealous. But like,
I'll take them. That'll be your next book. The
yeah, yeah,
Bookstagram serial
my
killer.
favorite fan
Like
kills everybody.
she
But
belongs to me.
no, I think I mean honestly, like I do think the Bookstagram community is just so I mean, because everything's like they volunteer. I mean, yes, they love reading, but like they volunteer
Yeah.
their time to read all these books and then all the some of the pictures they put up and the like the reels they make and stuff. Like it's they're beautiful. And like you do the
Mhm.
posters and you know, Kate's got the podcast for everybody. So like, you guys do this for us. We'll do anything for you guys. I mean, I think we
Yeah.
should do anything for you guys. Anyway, like, what are we without our readers?
Yeah.
Okay.
Yeah. I mean, that's so sweet. But also, like, I wouldn't be as passionate about some of the things that I do on Bookstagram if it wasn't for books like the ones that you've written.
Right. Hmm.
Oh,
You
thank you.
know, like
Thank you. That's
that
lovely.
creativity that you spark in me is because of a story that you gave to me that I was able to enjoy that changed like my perspective on things.
Right.
Well, I can't wait until everybody sees your poster with Murphy.
I know.
Oh, the cutest.
It was
Kate, did you
so
see it yet?
I've seen it, yes.
Oh my God, that was, I mean, I like peed myself when I saw it. That was just so funny. So well.
Cute.
I
I'm gonna
always
get my
like
dogs up with my dog voice.
I always like I love to do like the cast posters like kind of like reminiscent of Scream where you have like four or five like central characters. And so like when I was
Mhm.
thinking of yours, I always like spend the hardest time on like the backdrop picture. So I wanted something that like, like really like captures what the book kind of like setting looks like.
Yep.
And that was the longest thing. And then all of a sudden I just like plopped little Murphy like right in there, like front and center.
I had to.
Yeah.
He is a main character. The whole
He's
book happens for him.
he
So,
he
you got to
loves
do what you
it.
got to do.
He loves it. Well, this is my favorite one of yours so far, without a
Thank
doubt.
you.
Even if Murphy
I
wasn't in it, even if Murphy wasn't in
No,
it,
but it's funny because, like
Murphy
I
did
said, this book
great leading.
frustrated me the most to write. The other ones, I just wrote and like, yeah, everybody gets a little kind of a blockage in the middle, or there's a muddy middle. And again, with me, like I never know how my books are gonna, like I know how they're gonna end, but I don't really know how they're gonna get there. And that's
Mhm.
and that so like that's why I don't like to plot, because I don't want to box my characters into like a spot and then be like, that's who they have to be, because they grow along the way when I'm writing. So then
Right.
sometimes they turn into different people. And I like that. I like as they come alive on the page, they're different than who I thought they were in the beginning.
Right.
But this one, I did not know how it was going to end, so it was frustrating the hell out of me, and that's why like I was telling everybody, I'm like, I hate this book. I'm like, this is gonna be my worst book ever, because I'm not in love with it and it's frustrating me and I don't know what to do. And then when I said I got the shower thought with like the letter and then the last two point of view chapters, it really all came together. But I was just like, all right, fine, it all came together. It's fine. But then as it got out there and everybody's been reading it, everyone has been saying it's their favorite. So, I mean, yay. That's like,
Yeah.
that's great news.
It
And
is weird how that happens. Like sometimes like I think I've heard other writers talk about it where like you've just been in that project for so long and then you're like, I don't know. And then like those are the ones
Yeah.
that do well. Kind of like you like spend all this time on a reel and post it and you're like, this is gonna pop off and it gets like 10 views.
no.
Like the next one you like didn't even think would do well gets like 50,000 views.
Yeah, I don't know really how to make reels. Like I'll video something and then like I'll be like, okay, it's a reel, but like I have this amazing community here called like the St. Pete Girl Bosses, and they meet twice a week. And there's like 8,000 members in the private page, and the meetings have anywhere between like 20 to 100 people. So
Wow.
they're fun. Everybody just gets together and they start teaching each other stuff. And like I'm like one of the writers there. So like a lot of people are like doing writing. So like I help them with that. And my husband's actually on a Zoom interview right now because he's been looking for another job. And he's like, why don't you ask your girl bosses if anybody does any of this? And so I
Yeah.
got him some headhunters and some people who like do what he does and like, oh yeah, have him call. We use them for, air conditioner repair and just all sorts of stuff. And just the whole community gets together. So when I went to one of the meetings, there were like five people who were like presenting, if you will. And you could break off and go to, whichever meeting you wanted. And this one girl was teaching people how to do reels. And I was like, oh, that's the one I need. Like where you write stuff on and like pause it. And like, I'm like, I need to do that. So we did it live. So like I did a reel and like I put this like the little writing on it and I knew what to do and the whole thing. And it was great. And I was like, this is perfect because I'm watching it being done and I'm doing it at the same time. It's not like somebody's just telling me and I'm like,
Mhm.
Yeah.
but I forgot already. So like I need a refresher. I gotta start playing with it again. I think I would remember once I started doing it, but I have to start doing it because this comes out in 1 week from today, so I should probably do some sort of special reel for it.
Yeah, probably.
Yeah.
Yeah, that mommy, no, mommy's
Yeah.
trying.
Well, you have two people who could definitely help you if you need some help with that.
Good,
Yeah.
Yeah.
good. You're hired.
Yeah.
Did you have a favorite character when you were writing it? Like
Yes,
you had the most fun writing.
yes. I absolutely loved writing PJ. I thought she was a trip
Yes.
because she was the most, I guess, well, she started out being the most like duplicitous. And she was just fun because, I don't know, she had this. Hold on, I got it right here. She had 0 fucks to give.
Yes, she did.
Yeah.
Like she was just like whatever. Like everything was just she had her mission, she knew what she had to do, and then things changed. And then that's kind of when another character became kind of more duplicitous. So that was fun because then, they both thought that they were doing the right thing and they were both playing each other. So it was fun. It was fun.
It
It was
was. She
so
was.
much fun to read.
Mhm.
So much fun to read. And I loved Kim's backstory too.
Mhm, mhm.
That was like one of my favorite
Yeah.
because like I thought I knew where you were going in the direction of the book. And then all of a sudden there's this backstory, and I'm like, huh,
Gonna say,
this is very fun to read. And I was not expecting this whatsoever. And I loved the flashbacks, and I love how you like weave your flashbacks into like present time, like a memory. Like sometimes I don't like always love like a dual perspective in that like sort of way, but like the way that you wove in these like memories and like the core things that were kind of parallel to what was going on in Kim's life at that time, I was like, oh my God, another way that my girl's a genius.
Well, they always tell us not to info dump. And
Mhm.
like just start out and just be like, oh, so by the way, this is everything that happened, and just give like an entire backstory. So, I'm getting better. I mean, every writer learns with every book that they write. Which thank God, because if I went back to like my very first manuscript, the one I wrote like 10 years ago, oh God, no. I mean, it was just awful. I mean, even trying to rewrite this, like, it would never fly. It was just that bad. But of course, I thought it was great. And my mom and my friends told me it was great. So I'm shoving it in front of agents for like 2 years. And they're like, no, it's terrible. And I'm like, no, it's not. It's so good.
My mom likes that.
Yeah, my mom likes it. But every writer learns as they go. So because that one was like all info dump. Like the whole like first chapter was like what happened to her like 5 years ago, and it's like no.
yeah,
So like we learn how to weave things in better. So I'm still learning, but I hope I'm getting better at it. You know.
yeah. Exposition is like one of the things that Tyler and I are sometimes picky about in movies because of what you're talking about. Where like sometimes it's like, but I haven't seen you in 5 years. And I'm like, you wouldn't say that to someone when you walked into their house. Or like, just can you be a little bit more subtle? I'm not saying I felt
And
like that with your books, but it was reminding me of that.
no, but that's another thing that I realized when like I look back at my first manuscript, and everybody does this on their first manuscript because I was reading other first manuscripts, and like when I see it on like threads and stuff and people are like putting stuff up, everybody does it with their first manuscript and it never happens. Every single dialogue line, they'd be like, okay, Kate, so where would you like to go to dinner?
Oh
Well,
no.
Gary, what would you like to have? Well, Kate said that
Oh no.
Kate said Kate wants ravioli, and then Gary could be like, but Jamie, I thought you wanted Japanese. I'd be like, but Gare, you said you wanted that. Like nobody talks to me, nobody says anybody's name ever. But every first manuscript has that because I guess we think like we don't like our readers aren't going to know who's talking,
Yeah,
but we know they're not stupid.
I know.
So
That's
yeah, that was one of the many lessons I learned. Now it's like if somebody says their name, it's like
yeah.
they're probably screwing or something. That is a sex book. Mine are closed door. But I bet they're saying each other's name a lot back there, you know.
Yeah,
Yeah,
I'm sure. I'm sure they are.
I know I would say a few names.
No, you wouldn't. No, you know what? Start watching. Start watching yourself talk to people. You're never gonna see you're never
No,
gonna say their name.
I'm saying behind closed doors, there are a few of your characters whose names I would
Oh,
say.
yeah, probably, jerks.
Yeah,
Like, yeah, you love your jerks. Yeah, so that's
I
why I
know.
said I remember we talked
Always
about this
do.
early. I'm like, you're gonna love Tony.
Oh, I did. I did. I absolutely.
Yeah,
I
because
was
he's a
like,
jerk.
this is my, he was my hardest person to cast because I was like, I need like the like sexiest man in the entire world as Tony. I loved him.
Yeah, I knew you were gonna like him
Yeah,
because you like toxic people.
I do. I do. I find them
That's
so
okay. I
interesting,
like
and
that,
it's
but
so
that's the
interesting.
thing. I like toxic, like, characters. That's why
Hmm.
I always say, like, I mean, you guys know you've read all my books, so like, they're morally gray at best, my characters. But I love that. Like
I do
when I
too.
read like reviews on other books and it's like 1 star, all the characters were unlikable. I'm like top of my list.
Yeah.
Like I go out and buy it. Like so, like one man's trash is another man's treasure. But I love writing morally great characters. I love reading about morally great characters because
Hmm.
I'm not reading romance. I'm reading thrillers. Like I want them to be bad. I want them to have horrible personalities. I want them to do terrible things. That's so fun.
I just love the disdain in your voice. You're like, I'm not reading romance.
Yeah,
I just don't. It's just not my thing. It's just
but it's
not something that, I mean, it's the biggest market. It's the biggest
I
genre in
know.
writing.
Sometimes
I
I,
mean,
mhm.
it's got most of the audience,
I
but it's just
know.
not something I read. I like murder and blood and killing people and
Yes.
saving doggies.
Yeah. But it's like also interesting too when like people leave those reviews because like my thing is like you might just like go about your day-to-day life being like, "Oh, I'm a good person. I'm a good person." But like if you were in a situation such as some of these characters in a Jaime
Mhm.
Lynn Hendricks book, would you turn into a morally gray person or do you think that you would still be perfect?
I
You know what I
have
mean?
to.
Like when some of these people are like in situations where it's like when you're under hot water, like you are not thinking about
You're
your
not
like
yourself.
pristine reputation.
Yeah. You got to
Yeah.
eat a Snickers bar like you're not yourself.
Yeah. But I also love that like every single one of your characters has such sharp, snarky dialogue, but I
Yes.
don't
I
ever
usually
feel
give
like I've
one.
read like the same character. You know what I mean? Like
Yeah.
from Finding Tessa to Their Double Lives, everyone has had like snarky dialogue, but none of your characters are ever alike. So I always love that
I
too. I
usually
always look
try to
forward to your
give
dialogue.
one, like I usually try to make one snarky just because it's fun. Like I thought PJ was very snarky. I
Mhm.
mean, she had a lot to say,
Yeah.
Yeah.
She was
because
insane.
she was two people. So and she like hated who she was. And then when she became that lady, when she hated who she used to like, so like she was fun because she was always down on herself and being like,
Hmm.
okay, like whatever. What am
Yeah.
I doing? Blah blah blah. So
Yeah.
she was fun.
She was always a little pissed.
Yeah. Well, wouldn't you be?
Hmm. I'm always a little pissed now. That's part of my charm.
I don't think it's a spoiler because it's in the synopsis, but where did your idea to have like trying to kill people with pills in their drinks, like did that come from anything? Have you always like wanted to write a story like that?
Well, no, it was never a big like desire of mine, but as you guys know, as you read as it got through, you found out how complicated the pill was. Like it wasn't just, okay, whatever, let's get some, liquid plumber or something. Like it wasn't like that. It was a very, very complicated thing because it was about, and that was part of like the story too, toward the end, was like how they went about getting all of this stuff to make sure that they didn't get caught and how it was, picked by somebody else and transferred to someone else. And so that took some research, and I thank Heather Chavez for that because she took a lot of pictures. I was blurbing one of her books, and it was all poisons, constant poisons. And I was like, where did you even know? And it's like they could tell you like which one you could, will hit you in 1 minute, in 2 minutes, in 5 minutes, in 10 minutes, in an hour, how to distribute them, where to get them. And then she was like taking a bunch of pictures for me. She didn't want me being caught buying the book because, you know, my husband's still alive. Um, so she was taking a bunch of pictures of the pages. And she's like, what do you need? I'm like, I need one that's like a 20 to 30 minute acting, because I knew how she was going to get it.
Yeah.
So then like I went through that, and then it was like, okay, and it's like this one presents this way, and this one presents it like this one's going to make your eyes bleed out, and this one's going to make you do this, and this one's going to do that. So I just picked one that was just cruel, cruel and painful because, you know, that's what the person thought that she deserved at the time.
Mhm.
So I made it cruel and painful, but it was different. It was fun, like writing about, because I've never seen it before, and I've
Yeah.
never heard of it before. So it was fun, kind of writing a way to die that wasn't just like drinking something and like passing it on the table. Like she
Right.
went all sorts of nuts before that.
Yeah, yeah. It's not like a Scooby-Doo episode where somebody's like
Yeah,
in the drink and
yeah.
then
It's
they're
like,
like,
who's the stranger? It's these damn kids.
like even like some movies like that. It's like somebody does like one of these in the drink and then they're like have like a little like teaspoon of like foam in their mouth and they're like, Becky's
Um,
dead.
Yes.
I know. It was a tough one to read though.
Yeah.
It
yeah.
was a tough one to read. Yeah, with like because like I said, you always like I can't say anything spoilery, but you always take us on such a journey. And like with this one, I was like I like felt for like every character, which doesn't always happen with a thriller for me. And then I was like, well, now I don't want this person to die. And now I don't want this person to die. And I kind of know that this person's gonna die, but I'm just gonna be like completely delulu and in denial and be like, no,
Yeah.
no.
I
Yeah.
know, and that was the thing, like, because I wrote it in like like linear, so I knew. I mean, and this is in the synopsis too, so we're not giving anything away. But like PJ dies in like the end of chapter two,
Mhm.
um, and then I ended up liking her so much. I was like, maybe I could go back and kill somebody else instead. And I thought about it, but then I was like, it's a major, major rewrite because everything kind of led up to that happening.
Mhm.
And then I was thinking about making her find out, but it worked. I think it worked better. I mean, because she was just a tragic character, which was, you know, um,
Yeah.
which was sad, but it was also fun because I don't, does that make sense? That it was sad, but it was also fun.
We're
Listen,
But
thrilled.
also her BFF, Matt
I love
Mazuka,
Bleak.
he is a real person too. He is my gay husband. He is my gay husband in New Jersey. He is my BFF. He is my ride or die. And I told him that I am using his name in this book just because I love him.
Aw.
So that's why he's in the book as her BFF because he does everything for her.
I freaking love that so much because that was going to be my next question is like when I was reading it, the relationship between PJ and Matt, I was like reading it and I was like kind
It's
of like
so good.
romance readers say this, but they're like, oh, I was kicking my feet like because they were so like giddy and happy about it. But that's what I was doing with PJ and Matt because I was like, the way you like wrote a relationship between a woman and a gay man and that friendship, like you couldn't have done it more perfect because my personal opinion has always been like a relationship between a gay man and a woman is like a brother and sister. Like you will go at each other and like yell at each other and fight like to the
Mhm.
death. And then like 2 minutes later, like if somebody so much as looks at her sideways, you're like, don't fucking look at her like that. You know what I mean? Like,
Yep.
come on, I'm gonna go take you out to dinner, like you asshole. And like there's just the way
Yeah.
that they were like so snarky back and forth, but then like really like loved each other so much. I was like, that was one of my favorite parts of the book.
Yeah, and I just I got that from experience, for having Matt as in my corner.
Mm-hmm.
So I think their relationship was easy to write for me because I just drew on, you know, I mean, granted, like we're like 30 years older than them, but but you know, the way it was like there, I think it came off genuine because
100%.
it was genuine the way it is with me and Matt. So
Mhm.
I kind of just transferred it all over and just made them, you know, younger,
Yeah.
much, much,
Mhm.
much younger.
I do feel like the relationships are what really made it feel like lived in and like real.
Yeah,
Yeah.
you had you know, you had PJ and Matt's relationship, and then you also had Kim and Tony's relationship, and then you had PJ and Anthony's relationship, which were all kind of, you know, convoluted. And
Yeah.
then, you know, the other relationship you had was let's just call her Carla and Ron.
Hmm.
um, which was, you know, and but then, you know, there were other relationships also that was, you know, so it was a lot of like intertwining, but that's why it's called their double lives. I mean, nobody was who they seemed to be.
Yeah.
So
You just love and have mastered like the ensemble cast.
yeah, you think?
Yeah.
100%.
Hmm.
Oh, thank
Mhm.
you. The one I've got going on sub has three main characters, points of view, up until Act Three, and then a couple of more pop in, so you can figure out what's going on. But you know, we'll see if that one ever sees the light of day. And then
Bill.
with the one that I'm writing, there's again three, but this one I really like because this is something I've never ever seen done before as far as like a twist and the way these characters come together. This one is really interesting. I gotta get my butt down and like finish this one. I like it. It's good.
I did it.
I can't wait. I can't wait. I'm so excited. Your casts are just always so freaking good. Like you're every time I go to like cast one of your books, I feel like it's like the most pressure because your characters are so lively that I have to like pick the right. But like Carla, let me tell you about my girl Carla.
I cannot wait to see who you have for Carla.
I freaking loved Carla so much.
Well,
I'm gonna
she
try to
had
guess
her,
who she
you
is.
know, she had her, you know, issues. But she was fun to write too, because like I made her like a real housewife. Just, you know, I just made her like every horrible part of like a real housewife that you could be is
Yeah.
what I made her. And that was kind of fun because it was like she was just meant to be the queen bee, or she thought she was the queen bee and
Mhm.
just pushing everybody around and being a snot ball. And you know, she was fun too.
She's like, she was the one that like I laughed out loud more at this one than any of your books because of like her dialogue. And I just like I love somebody who's so like delusional but also like unhinged that
Yes.
like she just did not give a shit what she said. And that like
Yes.
I was dying laugh, like tears coming down my face with the dialogue with this one, especially Carla.
Yeah, she was definitely delusional is a very, very good word to describe her.
Yes. Yeah.
Can you still hear me and see me?
Yeah.
Yeah.
Okay. Because the thing just popped up that says your connection is unstable. I'm like, oh my God, it sounds like me.
Same.
Yeah.
Oh man. Well, what was I gonna ask? I don't know if I was gonna ask something else. I got distracted by my dog.
Oh,
Mentally.
best distraction ever.
It,
Tell
it is.
tell your dog no dogs are harmed in the making
I,
of this book, no matter what it says on page one. I'm telling everybody who's watching this, the dog does
Yeah.
not get harmed. I would never do
it,
that. Ever,
yeah,
ever.
right.
The
That.
dog
It's
saves
beautiful.
dogs save lives.
But
Mhm.
none of the people
Because
are
I have to
safe.
tell you, like my whole little thing with, you know, Amber, I showed you guys before. Um, we adopted her. She was 14 months old, and we got her 2 weeks before I had my surgery. And the dog never left my side.
Oh,
and like never left my side. And it was incredible the way this dog just completely attached to me. And we thought that was taking care of everything, and just it didn't. Like you know, things are they're just touch and go. So everybody wanted me to do chemo, like my husband, my best friend, my mom, like everybody. And I was just like, no, 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 no. And for over a year, I was just like, no, I'm not doing it. I'm not doing it. And then, when things got bad and he's like, okay, like, fine, you don't want to do it, we've got a few months. So I
right.
was like, okay. I'm like, okay, that's fine. And I came to terms with it. I'm like, that's fine. And I went home and the dog jumped on me, and the way she looked at me, and I just said, I am not leaving this dog. I'm
Oh,
not leaving the dog. So that's why I started it. So
I think you make me
that's how
cry.
much dogs mean to me, we do save their lives. Like we saved from a shelter. And like she was at a kill shelter before they rescued her from a kill shelter. So she goes from a kill shelter to like living her best life. Like, but
Hmm.
this dog is saving my life. Like, so it is a very, you know, it's a bond that, unless you have one, like I always say, everybody says they have the best dog,
Yeah.
and everybody is right.
Yeah.
Um,
Yeah.
they're just precious and special, and they make the world go round. And would I kill for this dog? Yeah. And guess what? Anyone
Hmm.
watching, come at me. I know how to get away with it.
Yeah.
Oh, amazing.
I know how to get
Well,
away with it. And
Oh,
the
I
FBI could look at my browser history all they want. I'm a writer, so it's okay. I saw
yeah.
the Karen Reed thing. I know what goes on with all of the, they're checking all the browsers and seeing what you did. Like, don't worry about me. I probably have it researched anyway, so it's all good. Come at me. Don't fuck
and
with
you
my
have an
dog.
alibi. You're a writer.
That could be some good book inspo. Is
Mhm.
like the author that decided to be a serial killer because like her browsing history matches her books.
Oh,
That's a good idea.
Hmm.
you
That's a
might
good
want to
idea.
keep
Be
that
like
for yourself, Gare.
be your take on Basic Instinct.
Yeah.
But then is she really a serial killer, or is somebody serial killing what they know she has on her browser and they're setting her up?
Oh yeah.
That's what it's got to be, Gare. Come on, we need the extra layer.
Yeah. I'm just thinking of this. I don't know if
Just to find out it really is her at the end. That's even better.
yeah, yeah. She set up her
That's the
Not
assistant.
basic
right back
instinct.
around.
Yeah. Yeah.
Yeah.
I'm thinking of this theory that I saw on TikTok where somebody they think that Billy Ray Cyrus is a serial killer because somebody had like went missing or been murdered in every town that he's toured in.
Oh my
Like
God.
yeah, so people are like somebody like went through with like a map and like they were like this person went missing when he was performing here and here and here. So like people are like is it him or is it somebody in his entourage? And I'm like this needs to be a
Holy
book. Yeah, this needs to be a
wow.
book.
Okay, now I'm gonna have to look that up.
Yeah.
Because that's
Yeah.
just the Billy Ray Cyrus and killing people thing. Yeah, I gotta know more about that.
He's a
I gotta know
Yeah.
more about
strange man too
that.
nowadays.
What's that?
I say he's a strange man too nowadays.
I
Well,
know.
yeah. So now it's like tracks. So
Yeah.
yeah, I totally want to see that.
Yeah.
I got
Yeah.
to read about that. That's awesome. Thank
Oh,
you
Yeah.
for that. Ooh.
the
Yeah.
intrigue.
It's very interesting. And I'm like, somebody needs to turn this into a book.
Yeah. I know you read a lot. Have you read anything
Yes.
recently that you loved?
Yes. I loved The Retreat by Kristen Ritter,
Mm.
because um that was the same thing, kind of about somebody doing a con and living a double life and trying to get away with it. So I really glommed onto that one, and it was short. It was only like maybe 270 pages.
Yes.
Um, and then I found myself like rushing through it. And then I hate when I do that when I love a book, because then I keep putting it down because I want to finish, I'm gonna be sad. And I kept putting it down because I'm like, I don't want to finish. I don't want to finish it yet. I'm not ready to be finished with it. Um, and then I just kept on picking back up because I loved it.
No, I
So
want to read
I
it
think I
so
made it
bad.
last like I think I made it last like a week, where normally I would have read it in a day, in a few hours. But I
Mhm.
made it last like a week. So I
I'm really
really love
excited
that
for
one.
that one. I haven't been able to
I'm
finish
excited for that one too.
my arcs, but I'm going to. They denied me an arc, then I would have read it, but I'll read it eventually here.
Oh no.
I know.
Oh
But
no.
first, she
I
did.
actually put that in my I put that in my article about because everybody has to do like an article for crime reads on their pub day, and we
Mhm.
just kind of have to talk about our book and then highlight books that we think are like it. So I did that one because I did it about like people who successfully try to do like a con or something. So I did the retreat, and I did the next Mrs. Parrish, the sequel,
Mhm.
because Amber is back and she's not you, Amber, not my little baby.
No,
My dog is
the baby.
and she perked up when I said Amber. Because Amber is, still being a con artist.
Yeah.
And I loved that book. And then I also did The Hollywood Assistant by May Cobb.
Mhm.
So
Very
I
good
have
one.
that one in there because you find out when the lady was working for that the actress and the director, and then she starts to con them because she's trying to get what she wants out of it, which is thrillers. That's why she was morally gray. I loved her.
Yeah.
Totally. Those are great comps.
Yeah,
I love that. I need to check out the Kristen Ritter book.
I really need to read it.
I liked it.
I think I don't know. I don't know how far I am into my June arcs, but once I finish them, I'm reading The Retreat. It's gonna happen.
Yeah, it was good. I highly recommend. And
Nice.
it's quick. It's a fast read.
That's nice.
It's like my stuff. Like I write popcorn thrillers. Like I don't write, you know, like Ashley Winstead writes a great like in-depth
Something
um
gothic-ish.
yeah, just like with like huge like background and meaning, and they're still thrillers and they're still exciting.
Mhm.
I just like I love stuff like that too. Because hers, despite them being um so more intricate, they're still very fast paced. And
Yeah,
that's why
Yeah.
I love her books.
me
But
too.
like mine are just, they're popcorn thrillers. They're not, no, they're not winning, a Pulitzer. That's okay.
Just winning us over.
I would say, and not just because I love you, but I would say that yours are a step above a popcorn thriller because,
Oh no, I
like,
love popcorn thrillers.
I love popcorn thrillers, but I feel like a lot of popcorn thrillers, you're like, okay, that was like satisfying. And then I'm ready to move on to something. And like every time I read your books, I'm like, okay, I'm satisfied, but I also like, I'm not ready to let go yet,
Yeah, I
you
feel like
know?
you get attached to characters in like a true popcorn thriller, but like I get attached to
Yeah.
characters. Is that what you're kind of saying too?
Yeah. Yeah.
hmm So
I know.
you're specialty popcorn or something. Like maybe you're like,
Your
oh,
caramel
Caramel
popcorn.
popcorn.
Yeah.
The caramel popcorn with like some salt on.
Yes. Yeah.
Because my
Caramel and sea
characters are a
salt.
little salty.
yes,
Yeah.
those are my favorite characters.
Yes,
Hmm.
with
They are
extra
mine.
salt on it.
Yeah. Well, everyone needs to go read this, obvious.
Yes.
I don't know if you haven't read it yet, like run to the bookstore.
Run to go get it. Tell your friends. No dogs
Yes.
are harmed in this book. They
Yeah,
are
Mhm.
they're
worshipped,
really
actually.
loved in this book.
And the dogs
Yeah.
is a golden doodle named Murphy. And if you've ever
Yeah.
heard of that before,
Because Gare has one.
Here he is.
oh my God.
He is so
And that's what he looks like in the book. I swear, I made him exactly like that.
Yeah. You
precious.
made him, you made him about 15 pounds lighter too. So I'm like refusing to go on a diet.
Oh man, you know what I just realized, Kate? Until I met Kim Valva and she won.
Mm.
The main character's name was Kate Wilder. It was a
Oh
Kate,
my
and
God, I
then I
love
didn't want to make her Cunty Kim. So sorry, I just gave out a hint about Cunty Carla. I didn't want to make her that name, so I said, "Oh, you could just be the main
that.
character. I could just change it." Because Tony calls her like he was calling her Katie Cat, but then he started calling her Kimmy Cat. So I was able to change that easily. And now I feel like
Yeah.
an ass because it could have been Kate and Murphy in there.
Oh,
So I'm sorry. I will make it up to you
totally okay. I just like
that on that.
Wilder. Now you've convinced me because I kind of Tyler doesn't like our last name either, even though it's his. And so he's like, you really need a different name when you publish a book. And I'm like, Kate Wilder actually
There
really
you go.
as well. So you might have just come up with my pen name.
Take it. There it is. And I love that you're writing.
I am writing.
I love. So you know who to come to when you need a blurb.
Yes.
You know who to come to.
I similarly need to get back to it and finish it because I have like 65,000 words. I'm so close.
Yeah.
I just need the time, but we've been building.
Okay, when you go back to it, if you find your character's dialogue where they're saying each other's names, get it out.
Yeah.
I will be looking. Totally. Well, whenever your next one is, I'm very excited to talk to you again.
Well, I could tell you this, it's not going to be next May.
Okay.
So no, I currently do not have a contract because I left my publisher. So we're going to start working on getting me a new one, so it's all good.
Yeah.
So it's just not going to be next May, but we will get something. I will get something out for you guys. I will.
Yeah, and we will force it on other people. We'll be like,
Oh, 100%.
Force it on them is, that sounds very,
Gare.
Yeah. That sounds like maybe you can be a character in my book. Maybe you are more gray, Kate.
I would be like, read this book or I'm blocking you forever.
Yeah, you'll threaten them.
Yeah.
Kate will be forceful. You'll be the muscle.
Yeah.